Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. So we've got a lovely, perfect day here at Woburn, but it's very windy. The wind is straight into. And one of the frustrations I get when I play with amateurs, particularly when they're playing into the wind and pitching, that the ball just stalls in the wind. So the pin, let's say the pin's 20 yards onto a green, it's a maybe 60-yard shot, that the player will play quite a nice shot, but it will stall in the wind. It'll come up at the front of the green, suddenly there's a 30 or 40-foot putt. And we don't need to limit ourselves to just playing one shot. That standard release 2 pitch shot where you're playing it smooth like that, that's a great shot downwind. It's no wind, it's going to land really softly, but into the wind, that spin and that climbs up into the wind and it stalls. So I just want to go through how you can very easily change your ball flight, and don't think you're not good enough to do this. I promise you this isn't difficult. A couple of little simple changes in setup, a couple of different swing thoughts, and you can start playing around with your ball flight. And that's the intelligent golfer, the golfer who looks at the situation, reads the wind, looks at maybe little slopes. You might have a slope in the green, you want to make sure your ball runs up that slope, or the pin might be at the back and you want your ball to run to a back pin instead of trying to carry it to a back pin, because if you miss a back pin long, obviously you can leave yourself a difficult shot. So I want you to be able to change your ball flight. So you have the standard one, as I just said there, ball just forward of centre, nice pitch action there. The key to pitching, by the way, loads of wind there, that really almost came backwards, is the quiet right foot. So I'm very much turning my chest around my lower body. That's the key for pitching. If I want to hit one a little bit higher than that, which I certainly wouldn't do today, but I think sometimes if you understand how to change the ball flight both sides, it will help you. So if I put the ball position now on the left heel, work behind the ball a little bit, and I'm going to release it a little bit more this time, I've got a really high shot. Now that ball is actually coming backwards now. So that would be totally the wrong ball flight. So I need to lower the flight. Now, there's two very easy ways to lower the flight. You can stick to the same club and change your ball position, or you can obviously just change your loft. Now, the downside of just changing to a stronger loft is it can land on the green and it can just simply run too far. It basically comes out too hot. The smash factor, which is the club head speed divided by the ball speed, basically the ball speed comes out too quickly. So I quite like lowering the ball flight with the same club. So this is my 56. I hit those that you can see were kind of hanging, struggling in the air. So what I can do now is just play that ball position, just start to move it back of centre with a little bit more shaft lean, and rather doing that sort of lovely soft release 2 pitch, I start to do a release 1 pitch. It's going to come out lower, still going to have some spin because I'm using a 56-degree wedge, but it will get through the wind a lot easier. Bigger first bounce, then the spin comes on the second. So we go back of centre, chest in front of the ball now, chest bone in front of the ball, a little bit more shaft lean, still hinging this way, maybe thinking a little bit as well, sort of subconsciously, of getting my left wrist turning down a little bit, so flexing it down, which keeps the face and loft down. And then as it comes through, I'm opening my chest up, I'm really matching my chest to hands and club head, but you can see it's much more into that release 1 position. So let's hit one so you can just have a look at it. So ball back of centre, chest in front of the ball, turn the loft down a little bit more in the backswing, and you'll see the difference in the follow through. And you can see how straight away that ball flight's just come out so much more forward. It hasn't stalled in the wind, it hasn't hung there, and that would have got to the pin. More divots because we're hitting more down on it and we're delivering more lean, okay? So we're getting into the back of the ball a lot more rather than that softer release 2 where it's a bit more clippy. And there's no one way to do it. You've got to look at the situation, choose which is the right ball flight. So let's do that again. Ball just back of centre, okay, chest in front, keep the loft down, watch how the finish changes. And that's such a better shot. Okay, still loaded with spin. And that's a good shot to have. Now, you can go more extreme than that. Let's say you've maybe got some branches and you've really got to hit a bit more of a punchy wedge. You could play the ball position on your back foot. So really on the back toe, go for a ton of shaft lean now and shorten the finish even more. Then you can really get it coming out super low, a lot more divot. That would be good if I was playing from a divot, by the way. Let's say I'm unfortunate enough to get that lie there. Well, if I put that back in the stance and put a load of lean in, I can dig it out and still get a really nice punchy shot there. So golden rule there. I'm going off track a little bit, but if you're in a divot, make the divot bigger. But really the key points there for you are making sure that you understand there's your standard pitch shot position with release to clip it, and then you can progressively move that ball back and start to hit that lower flight. So you can all do that, that isn't difficult. However, I did mention changing loft is also a really good way to do it. So this is the 52, because I go 52, 56, 60, they're the 3 lofts I carry in my wedges. And just by going down to a 52, you can more or less keep the same ball position. You don't have to play it too far back, but the loft itself is going to play the ball flight down now. Okay, so we go there. I might just think a little bit wider to wider to keep the spin off. And that's a lovely ball flight. I mean, I love that shot. That came out beautifully. So it had spin, but it was going forward through the wind. So this is a shot I would probably play for around about 70 yards today in this wind. Is the middle of the grip set up, so an A2 I call it, address 2 club heads, middle of the grip, and very much working a wide to wide swing, but with a 52 without having to shove the ball all the way back. Comes out beautifully. Even in this wind, that's a lovely shot. When it's breezy, swing it easy, okay? Keep the spin off, don't go using the wrist too much. Also, if the wind is really strong, it'd be quite nice to actually turn it back into the wind. For those advanced players amongst you, try and draw it a little bit. So to draw it, you drop the right foot back a little bit, you play the ball just back of centre. Same thing, so release one pitch, but you turn the toe over a little bit more on the ball, and that's a nice way of turning it back into the wind. It's a beautiful shot there. See, I'm in much better shots from a 52 than the 56. So yeah, think about that. Go to that gap wedge at times. And then if it's really breezy, I'll go to my 9-iron now. Let's imagine I've got, say, 90 yards to play now. Most of you would hit a really high lofted shot there. In this wind, even if it's a good one, it's going to land, it's going to screw about 30 feet. Nice idea is to play the same shot I just played with 52, but with a 9-iron where we go a little half swing and just feather it in there. And make sure your chest just keeps turning on these, and that again is lovely. That will run out a little bit more, obviously, so you don't want to play that to a front pin, but there's no way the wind will beat you doing this little 9-iron pitch shot. So easy. And you see how the chest is pivoting around the feet. Really feel like you've got heavy feet when you pitch, and that will give you much more control. The sort of the main fault with this shot is where the player knows they've got a lot of club in their hand, and then as they're coming down, the chest slows down, and then the hands tend to work over, which will close it, or you leave it out to the right. So just make sure when you're doing this that you very much think about the chest bone and the club head, like really staying in connection. So really connect it up as you swing. That's gone absolutely dead straight. And that'll be a good drill for your long game as well for some of you, in case really understanding how the chest and the club head match up. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. It's not difficult. I'd love you to put this into your game. I really would. I think too many golfers don't back themselves enough and just sort of say, well, I find it hard enough hitting a normal shot, but the problem is a normal shot in this wind, you almost can't play. It's just, you don't understand how difficult that wind makes the wedge game. But if you can learn just to lower that ball flight, lower that launch angle, from just playing that ball further back, or I'm showing you with the stronger loft, just play that quiet one, which I probably prefer, you can absolutely manage the wind without any problems and still get those wedge shots nice and close and get it up and down. So hopefully that helps. Put it into your own game, work on it. You know, it's a fun part of the game to work on pitching. And once you start getting ball flight control, distance control gets a lot better as well. All right, so hopefully that helps, and I'll see you next time. All the best.